All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Small Outing to Big Adventure, How to Embrace and Include the Kids. Today, I'm with Emily McAllister, and I am super excited to have her on. She has a lot of insight to share about this topic. And Emily, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I am a mom of two. I have a 7-year-old daughter named Aiden and a 2-year-old daughter named Frankie. We like those gender neutral names.
Yeah.
And we live in, and I have a husband, Mike, and we live in Southern California. I'm actually originally from the Boston area, but I've been out here like 15 years. And I work from home as a mommy blogger slash photographer, and it's a wild season we're in.
No kidding.
I'll say about that.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh. So I think you're just the perfect person to have on for this series because we're talking about getting out and about with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, what does adventure mean to you when you think of adventure and adventuring with your kids specifically? What does that mean?
And for me, I feel like when I think of adventure, I guess I think of like spontaneity and kind of just allowing the day. I mean, typically we have like a rough idea of like what we're going to do, but when we're in that adventure mode, it's kind of like letting the day sort of take you where it takes you and just kind of going with the flow and saying yes more than no and until nap time. Yeah, then I'm done. No, but I think it's fun to I think sometimes as like a parent, like I find myself being like saying no a lot or, abiding to these schedules and the rules. And I think sometimes it's just nice to let that all go out the window and just kind of have a day.
A yes day.
Yes, like freedom. And I think like we're in the midst of summer. So that's kind of what our whole last couple of months has been like.
Lots of adventure.
Yeah.
What does a typical adventure look like in your world?
I mean, we are very fortunate we live by the ocean. So a lot of times our adventures take us to the beach or there's a harbor near us and we'll go explore. I really do like to explore like our own, like local neighborhood and not like our neighborhood, but our local area. Since I'm not originally from here, there are a lot of things that are still new to me. But there's some really cool, I just like things that are like for fun and for free. So like there's like sea caves in Dana Point, which is like the next town south. And it's like a 20-minute little hike along you're kind of in the ocean, you're on rocks, but it's like you're right by the water. And then you end up in this like cave that looks like you've landed in the Goonies, if you've ever seen that movie. And so I don't know, I like things like that where you're just using your own resources to have a fun day. I don't know.
To have fun. That's awesome. And how do you find things like that? Like,
I'll hear something from somebody or somebody will post something on social media or in their stories. I'm like, where was that? I want to go there. That looks fun. I get a lot of my information from other moms, most of my information from other moms. I'm in a couple like local Facebook groups, and I swear like people's Instagram stories have ignited a lot of ideas for me. But usually like word of mouth,
Yeah, that's awesome. So note to everyone watching out there, get in on your local Facebook mama groups.
Yes.
Yeah. And Instagram's a good one too. That's great. And take the suggestions that other moms have and make them your own,
Yeah, and I also feel like for as many days that we do venture around and have these like kind of nomadic experiences, I also want to be really transparent that we have days where we stay home and like they play or play outside with the neighbors. Like I think it's really important to also like I don't know what the quote is, but it's something about like kids should be bored sometimes. I just think like we're told to like I feel like there's this pressure to always be doing something. Especially in summertime, especially with like social media. And so, yes, I love a good adventure, but I also think sometimes it's nice to just find things to do around the house or do arts and crafts and stuff like that. I mean, that could be an adventure too, like getting out paints and markers and stuff, you know?
Totally. It's all about how we frame it, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, no, absolutely. And it's okay to balance out the out and about with
Yes.
staying at home and getting a little bit bored. And as you said, it's healthy to feel that sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you see your adventures affecting your kids?
I feel like it's an opportunity to connect. I also like to do one-on-one time with both of my girls, and especially Aiden, my older one, who's 7. Like, we do have that 5-year gap, so there are a lot of really fun things we can do all together, but there are certain things that, you know, you got to let the 2-year-old keep up with you. And so I find that especially when I'm doing those one-on-one adventures with my kids, like, we really connect, and it's like, you're still the mom, I'm still the mom, there's that dynamic, but it is more of like a fun energy rather than like, clean your room, brush your teeth, brush your hair, did you put your dish in the sink, you know? So I think that it creates like connection. And my hope is like that it's creating memories. You know, I feel like when we look back, we see a highlight reel, you know, we remember more of the good than not, you know? And so I want like those like happy memories to be like, you know, those freeze frames of like, you know, maybe we're running in the ocean, or maybe we're at the petting zoo, or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, that's so great. And that's something that we haven't actually touched on in this series yet, is using these adventures as an opportunity to connect one-on-one with
totally.
And
just anything. I mean, like you said, and it's like how you frame it. So if you say, hey, let's go on a mommy and daughter date and go to Target, because you need to go to Target, and like let them pick something from the dollar spot, like, it's still fun. It's still an adventure. It really is. Like, it is. You've said that perfectly. However yes. It's how you present it to them. And then I also use a lot of bribery. That's my favorite parenting tactic.
Yeah, and it's not always bad. There's a time and a place for bribery.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. And where does your husband come into play in all of this? Are you usually, you know, just solo momming it when you're out there, or does your husband hop in on these adventures?
He does. I mean, I work from home, and he actually works 4 days a week, which is really nice. So he's Tuesday through Friday, he's, you know, they're long days, and he's gone. So during the week, I'm definitely doing it alone, but on the weekends and in the summertime, like on Mondays, he definitely hops in. There are times where we all will go do something, even if we just go to the pool, but like, he does try to be really intentional about, you know, taking the girls either together or one-on-one. And he'll take, my husband likes to go fishing. So he'll take my older daughter fishing. He has like this fishing kayak. It's so random. We couldn't be more different humans, but that's what he likes.
That's okay.
Like, he's like, do you want? I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to go in the ocean in a kayak. But he, like, you know, they go do things like that. And it's so funny because like, they're having their own experience. I don't have any idea what goes on there, but I feel like he's pretty intentional about creating those experiences as well, you know. But,
and that's just it. Not everything has to be for everybody, and not everyone has to participate. And like, it's okay for the kids to have one experience with one parent and another.
Yes, because we're different. Like, I'm very extroverted. I like to be out in the public. I like crowds. I mean, I don't like Disneyland crowds, but I like I like being in the mix. And my husband is definitely more of an introvert and does not want to be where there are big crowds. So the things he would choose to do with the girls are like, they're different, you know, but I think that's cool because they get different experiences. And then I drag him to the things that I want to go to.
I have one more question for you. So you mentioned that to you, like, adventure is kind of on the fly, like, let's just get going and get out. And how do you, like, some people can do that, and some people really have to be very organized and like, okay, I've got everything that I need and like my little checklist. How do you just manage that type of like on the fly type of we're just gonna go today?
I mean, I'd say I'm somewhere in between those the ends of the spectrum. We do have a schedule, but I'm a little bit flexible with it. So like, I do have a nap time for my daughter, my youngest daughter, but like, I don't mind pushing it off an hour. You know what I mean? So I think part of it is, if you are one of those super organized people, to create a little room for flexibility, you know, because I mean, and like there's a certain time, like if we get past a certain time, I know she's going to melt. And that's for me, that's why I feel like I'm pretty like regimented about that. But I also know that there's some wiggle room. And sometimes there have been times where I just like don't nap her and I do pay the consequence, you know? Yeah. So I think, and then I think I usually have like a loose idea of where we're headed or who we're meeting. And sometimes it's super planned out, but yes, sometimes it is more like, I don't know, sometimes to me, it feels good to kind of not have that super crazy plan because I'm just like, I don't know where we're going to end up, you know? I mean, I'm not going to end up in Mexico, but like, you know what I mean? Like there's, you know what I mean? Like within the realm of like possibility. And so, and I find also like, it creates, I'm like better to be around when I'm not like holding really tight to the reins and like have to be by this certain timeline. Cause then that's like not enjoyable for me. That's when I start to get annoyed with my kids, you know, because, things don't typically go exactly as they're planned in life, you know?
I totally agree, especially with kids. And it's really important to know yourself.
And I feel
what sets you off.
Well, and if you look back on like previous experiences, which will kind of tell you how things are, like, first of all, everything always works out. It always has before. So why wouldn't it now? And like, when it hasn't gone according to my exact plan, it's always worked out like better, you know, something better came out of it. So it's like, I just like to like, there's that, like, you know, trust the process. And I actually really love that quote because there are times where I feel myself getting like angsty about, oh, we're supposed to be back at this time and so we're running late. Now we only have 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I start getting crazy. I'm like, okay, like, it's okay. Like, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay.
It's a great way to like do some personal development, personal growth, you know.
Oh my God, I love personal development. all day.
Well, this has been awesome. Emily, thank you so much for joining us and giving us just these few little insights in this short amount of time. It was so fun. And everybody who's watching, I'm going to post Emily's links, the link to her blog and her social media sites below this video so that everyone can get in touch with you, Emily, because I'm sure we all want to connect and learn more. Is there one last little piece of advice or tip that you want to leave for everybody today?
As far as like adventuring with your kids?
Yeah, or anything, motherhood.
Oh gosh. Oh, I feel like I want to say something so profound and I don't have, I'm like, okay, what would I say? No, I mean, I think, I don't know. I guess just, I mean, accept the imperfections. I mean, like accept the imperfections and give yourself grace and, like, okay. And also like this has so been said over and over again, but I feel like, with our social media culture, we see a lot of things on Instagram. We see the mom taking their kid. Like I have friends who do way more than I do. And I like, you can get into that comparing thing where like, I'm not doing enough. Yeah. And I would say, comparison is the thief of joy. Do not compare your insides to somebody else's snapshot on social media and know that you are doing enough. And,
awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, Emily. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Do I need to click out?